Hello there, my name is Sixo, but more on that later because we're back for another of those. They've revealed some toys and we're going to talk about it a little bit, jobbers. Yes, not only did I try my hand at this sort of thing just the other day with the new Age of the Primes 4-pack, but then they've gone and revealed a bunch more toys on the latest Hasbro Pulse fan stream. And there was some great stuff in this one. A couple of bits we were expecting, some things we'd already seen, and definitely some new stuff. So let's get into it, shall we? So first up, we had the final two Aerialbots from the Age of the Primes set, and they look basically as expected. I did think that Fireflight looked a little bit odd. Like, to my eye, there was something about the combination of the white and the red and the placement of it all that just, I don't know, didn't kind of work, but actually when you go in and do a side-by-side, it is what it's supposed to be. He's also got the very kind of square head that is synonymous with the character, and he's got his two guns, so that's all good. And you know, the jet mode looks largely as it should, so that's a box ticked, I guess. It's probably not one I'd be too excited about were it not for the fact that it forms part of a combiner, right? Like, it's good, don't get me wrong, really, really good, but just it's kind of more exciting as part of that set. That said, I do think that Skydive looks wicked. I mean, he's very handsome, and there's something about that gold face and the kind of unusual shape of his head that has always worked for me on this character model, and they've no doubt done a really good job at capturing that. Equally, the jet mode looks super swish, and I love the lightning strike pattern on the wings and on the rear fin. I think all of that looks great. So, you know, overall, I am excited about these guys, and it will be good to kind of complete the full set of Aerialbots as well. He says, not actually having any of them in hand right now. Now, we did also get our first proper look at Superion, as I say, and honestly, I think it looks great. I mean, again, it sort of looks like you would imagine Superion would. Like, nothing about it was a surprise. This is literally cartoon accurate Superion, for better or for worse, and some people are going to be into that, and some people are really not going to be into that, and that's fine also, but it does what it says on the tin. Like, I know some folks hate the skeleton frame combiner thing, right? Like, I know that. And yeah, I get that, but actually, I think it's something that's never been done in official Transformers toy form before. Like, obviously, we've just had it with Legacy Menasor, but other than that, it is a new thing as far as official toys go. Well, kind of actually. You did get something very similar on the classic 1990s Micromaster combiners, so maybe it's not the first time. But in any case, this solution has been rife in the third-party world for years. I'm not surprised to see them utilising it here. It is something a little bit different overall, and I'm all for giving it a try, personally. Like someone will always say, but they don't combine, and I am sympathetic to that, but we've also had that done, you know, the traditional combiner thing. So I think this has merit too, and it does mean that it should hopefully be much more stable. I mean, I had a very good experience with Legacy Menasor, so I'm into it. Equally, it's funny because, you know, some people have a real problem with the leg jets facing to the rear by their estimation, so that the wings and everything are facing towards the back, but Superion has always been that way. Like, I've heard people saying it's a cartoon thing because it was that way on the cartoon model, and yes, that's absolutely true, but the cartoon model was based on the original toy, and that's how it always was on this toy. Like, yeah, you can turn them round, but it's just how it was always advertised, how all the instructions told you to do it, so blame the toy, I guess. In any case, I do understand it, because maybe it would be fun to be able to turn them around in this case, but you can't, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over it personally. And for better or for worse, Age of the Prime Superion is here, or nearly, and I think it looks superb. Like, as I say, I really enjoyed Menasor. This looks great too. I'm all for it. Now, next up, we had a Generation Selects 2-pack with some of the Studio Series Dinobots done up in Generation 2 colours. And oh my days, I'm very excited for this. Like, I love Dinobots, right? But they're grey. Except when they're not, and they weren't in Generation 2, baby. Just check out these guys. Absolutely love these colour variants, right? Like, they were so cool back in the day, they still stand out now, just fantastic. So it's not a great surprise to see the Studio Series versions done in these colours, especially after we've already had Grimlock done in the unreleased Tiger Stripe deco and the Generation 2 blue version. Didn't have it on my bingo card as a 2-pack though, that is a surprise. But still, you know, they look great. I don't actually have the original versions of either of these, so I'm gonna wait and get these ones, I think, because I love the colour schemes. Now, interestingly, they've gone with the more obvious choice of Slag being green and Snarl being red instead of the other way around. Yes, you see, back in the 90s, they actually did both. Meaning you could get a red Snarl, or a green Snarl, or a red Slag, or a green Slag. You could just go nuts. For what it's worth, and for completeness' sake, they also rather randomly did grey versions back in Generation 2 as well, and they do look very similar to the Generation 1 alternatives, but they've just got little G2 tampos on them, so that's a bit of a novelty. Anyway, probably my only real disappointment here is that they still don't have swords. It would have been lovely if they'd thrown in a couple of extras with this pack just to kind of round it off, especially after the originals didn't come with the swords, but hey-ho, box art for this one looks pretty radical too, right? Woof! There's then another 2-pack under Age of the Primes, which is the so-called Wreck and Doom set, which features a retool of Sandstorm and a repaint of Titans Return Slugslinger, and again, that was not on my bingo card. Now this is really fun to see, especially as I think it is a really great toy, but it's going to be interesting to note how people think it holds up, considering that it's 8 years old now. I mean, that might not sound like so old to some of us, but in toy terms, it kind of is, and the engineering has moved on a little bit. There's no wrist swivels with this kind of thing, and ankle tilts, and so there are things that now we maybe kind of take for granted that this earlier toy just doesn't have. So how are people going to react to that? I guess we'll find out. Now, this is actually the third version of this mold as Slugslinger, which is really interesting. So the Titans Return version, which most people will be familiar with, was toy accurate. So it was based on the colours of the original 1987 toy, as you can see here. Takara then did their makeover with the Legends version, which was a different blue and was kind of modelled after their Headmasters cartoon from Japan. And they also included this little new mold Target Master, which is kind of cool. By comparison, the new release is actually also cartoon accurate, but it's accurate to The Rebirth. Now this of course was the 3-episode adventure at the end of the Generation 1 cartoon under Sumbo, and it introduced the Headmasters and Target Masters, and in that you can see that the character is noticeably darker, much more like the new toy. So look at that now, you've got 3 different versions, all catering to very different tastes. Aren't you lucky? Now, the new version still has his little headmaster, which is called Caliburst, but actually it doesn't have the Target Master from the original Takara Legends toy, so that's a little bit of a shame. As for the new Sandstorm, this is a bit of a strange one, because it's basically identical to the original Legacy release, but now with a new retooled face. The face in this case is cartoon accurate, because in the cartoon he didn't have a visor, whereas the original 1986 toy did, so it's just that kind of difference. And we did know this was coming, we've heard Mark Mayer talk about this before, but now we finally get to see it. It is a bit strange though, because it's so similar to the Legacy toy. Like the new one has black hands as well, but other than the face, it's basically the same. I do hope they've fixed the chest from the original though, because this thing does not tab in like at all. It just does not want to stay in place, so very annoying. I'm hoping they fixed that. But you know, this is a really fun toy, and the new version still comes with the little winch accessory and the roll cage and all of that, so box tick there. Like part of me does definitely think this could have been like a face swap gimmick or an accessory or something on the original, but I guess they went a different route with it. But what can you say? They're 2 great toys originally. They're getting another go around. It'll be interesting to see what people make of them. Now, next up, we've got Deluxe Class Venom, who is one of the classic Deluxe Insecticons and is actually the final member of the team needed to complete this roster. Now, I think this is super cool. This toy looks great. The original is great. And yeah, this is really good. And I think I say that because I have big love for the original Deluxe Insecticons, right? That there's something a little bit different in the world of classic G1 Decepticons. They're very colourful for one thing, and the designs are really different too. And a lot of that is down to their origins, because actually these guys, these original toys, did not come from Takara. They weren't from Diaclone like the other Insecticons, they weren't from Microchange, and instead they were designed and released by a company called Takatoku in Japan. And here you can see the original release in different colours, where it was known as Beat Zaguna. Really interesting story, because actually Takatoku also designed the molds that went on to become G1 Roadbuster and Whirl when it was known as Dorvac, and they also designed all of the original Macross toys. And yes, by that I do mean they designed the toy that became G1 Jetfire. Anyway, long story short, Takatoku went bust, they were acquired by Bandai, and Bandai in Japan subsequently licensed these toys to Hasbro. But alas, bit of a conflict of interest there, because it meant they could never be released by Takara in Japan, and that's why they were also not featured in the shared cartoon. So they kind of fell a little bit by the wayside versus your classic Insecticons anyway. Like, they were never really fleshed out in fiction. They briefly appeared in the UK comic, but they basically just existed to be killed off. And it's such a shame, because they're just rad little toys. Really intricate, really detailed. They feel quite premium actually as well. Super nice. Of course, this new version is way more articulated, although the original was pretty good too in that regard, certainly for a G1 toy, but this has got everything that you would expect, and it just looks fabulous by my estimation. Also features his little gun and his axe, which were present on the original too, and I'm just really digging that head sculpt. I think they've absolutely captured the essence of the original, and the bug mode looks good too. This is a true win for me. I think it might be the best of the set of 4 that we've seen so far. Does make me wonder if they'll do Beak Zaguna colours as well. I doubt it somehow. I'm sure there's a licensing thing or something there that means that they can't, but it would be interesting. Now, next up, we have Voyager Class Flatline, which is a retool and a repaint of Armada Red Alert. Really surprised about this one as well. Again, did not have this on my bingo card, but for what it's worth, I'm loving this original version, so I think this looks Amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I might have expected them to do the orange Powerlinks version first of all. That would have seemed more logical somehow. Or perhaps even a homage to this, which is the 2004 Sam's Club Prowl, which is kind of an unusual deco. But, you know, they went a different route with it, and I think this is a must-buy. I mean, for one thing, it looks great in black, right? But I actually knew nothing about this character. This was a true new one on me. I had to go on a little bit of a voyage of discovery with this one. And it turns out it's a bit of a deep cut, but it originates from the IDW Revenge of the Fallen comics, first appearing in 2010's Tales of the Fallen issue 6. Now, the character was then brought into the main IDW universe and kind of G1ified a little bit, but modelled after Trailcutter, aka Trailbreaker. Now, what's really cool about this guy is that he's a Decepticon medic, but he's actually so serious about his oaths that he will look after Autobots as well and kind of rescue them if they need help. In any case, it's actually the first toy of this character that we've ever had, so that's a good thing already. And actually, I just think that it's a great opportunity to own this mold again, because I'm really digging this thing, and again, it just looks so good in black. Now, it does have a new head, which is really nice and does add a little bit of a new character to it. It also, interestingly, has 2 hands, which the Red Alert version did not, so it's clearly got a little accessory hand that you can kind of plug in. There are then these additional pieces which plug onto his back or can be seen in his vehicle mode, and that's obviously meant to kind of recreate his IDW look, so that's really unusual. As I say, definite must buy for me, this one. Anyway, there is more to say because there's also a bunch of new primes to talk about as well, but I'm going to do a separate video on those because there is a lot to be said about them. But for today, what are your thoughts on these toys? I'd love to hear about them in the comments below and any of the information that we've discussed. I think there's some great stuff going on here, but what do you think? And please don't forget to leave me a like for this effort as well. Trying a bit of focus on the channel right now, so your support is appreciated. But otherwise, that's it from me. So have a great rest of your day. TTFN.